Hello my beautiful creatives, and welcome back to my art channel. My name is Chrissie B and I'm a creativity coach hoping to inspire you to live a more creative life every day. So for today's video I thought I would give you a quick life update and let you know where we're at. Last we spoke I think I told you that I had turned our camper trailer into an RV repair shop to get repaired. That was a little more than 3 weeks ago. I still don't know what's going on with that. As far as I know, the repair shop hasn't even looked at our trailer yet. So thankfully, we still have the condo in Salem, and so we are back there, and we've just kind of moved in and kind of made ourselves comfortable with, you know, the bare minimum of what we have, which is not a lot, but it's working. It's made videos much easier because I have a much larger space for arting. But I didn't know really what I wanted to do today. Oh my gosh, do you see that face? That was like a horrible, horrible, scary face that popped up in my art journal. So you'll just see me playing. I am just pretty much doing what I normally do when I'm sitting by myself in my art studio. The only difference is I don't really have music playing today. I usually do have music playing, but I've been having some issues staying focused and not getting sidetracked. So I didn't want to have any music on, didn't want to have any television or any movies. I either generally art journal with either a movie playing in the background or like an old 80s TV show. I watch a lot of Jessica Fletcher, which is Murder, She Wrote, the main character from Murder, She Wrote. Or I listen to music of some sort. I didn't want to do any of that today. I just wanted to just kind of play and see what comes out. I've been in a little bit of an art rut. I think it's just because I'm tired and there's so much going on that I'm not really sure about. You know, I don't know what the future brings. So it's a little overwhelming. But I've kind of had a heart-to-heart with myself and with the universe, and have come to the decision that the reality for myself is that when things get scary, and they always have a tendency to get scary, especially for someone like myself who has high anxiety, when things get scary, my default needs to become getting curious. What is this about? What's really happening? What can I learn? What's the message here? And instead of being afraid, just thinking of it as learning experience. That's not always easy, as we all know. I mean, we all go through chaotic life things. Yeah. So I just want to take a quick note and tell you I kind of just was playing on this art journal spread and I kind of saw something. And what I actually saw was angel wings. I wanted to put angel wings on here. I don't draw. I'm not a really great drawer. I'm more of an abstract mixed media artist, as you probably are well aware. But I wanted to see what I could do. So I pulled up an image I just Googled angel wings and found an image that I kind of liked. And I started to just kind of sketch it out as best I could. And you'll see that I don't actually keep this. Actually, this becomes, in my mind, a huge fail. And what happens is I think the angel wings are going fine. They actually look just like the image in the that I had found on the internet. And so that's all good. The issue is that I got bored with doing it. Welcome to my world, Miss ADHD brain. That's why I call myself an art supply hoe. That's why I'm a mixed media artist, is because I get so sidetracked so easily. And so here I am doing the drawing as I see it online, and I'm just kind of like doing each side little by little. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, I look up, and it doesn't happen quite yet, but you'll see that there's a point where all of a sudden I see eyeballs. And I'm kind of like a little kid staring up at the clouds and I see something different than what I'm drawing. So yeah, I kind of got over this drawing rather quickly, even though looking back at it while I was editing, I was like, okay, well, I wasn't going as bad as I thought it was. I see it could potentially possibly become angel wings if I would just keep going, but I totally got sidetracked and ended up giving up on it. And you'll see what I'm talking about here, because I didn't cut any of that out of the video. Here I am, I find an eyeball, and I'm like, oh, there's two of them, they're eyeballs. And so I decided I need to draw these eyeballs, and I'm like, well, what kind of animal has a head like this where eyeballs would be? I'm like, well, it's your art journal, just make something up. So I kind of like put a beak on it, which is what I'm doing right here, and I thought, oh, maybe that's an owl. It's kind of a wonky looking owl, but maybe it's an owl. So then I kind of like just go with the owl idea, that maybe it could be an owl. And I ended up totally hating it and got so overwhelmed. I was like, okay, you're on camera, people are watching you, and I kind of have a general rule with myself that the reason I do this type of an art journal video, the Chatty art journal with me, Chatty Art Studio Playtime, it's because I really want to like challenge myself to show you what I do, not in real time because that would take forever. This would be an hour and a half long video if I showed this in real time, but just don't erase mistakes. Don't. I want you to see what happens when an art journal actually flows up or hates something. So here I'm totally over it. I'm totally over that page. I've turned the page, gone to the next page, and I've decided that I just need to do something simple. So I grab a stencil, I start mushing some acrylic paint through it using a baby wipe, and it's kind of an old baby wipe, so it's not working terribly well, but I end up making it work fine. And I will eventually go back to that owl page and do something that I've always said to all of you, that if you hate something, you can always fix it. You can always go back and do something else. So you'll see. Just kind of hang in there and you'll see. But anyways, so what else is going on in life? My husband is working like a crazy person. He's pretty much gone into workaholic mode because I am not working. I did tell you last time we met that I had a job interview that I was really hoping to get, and I did actually get the job, sorta. And let me tell you what that means. Now, I got the job, and I'm really excited about it. It's an opportunity that I really cannot walk away from. It feels like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of offer. Not too good to be true. I mean, it doesn't feel too good to be true. I want to be clear on that. But it feels like it's going to be really hard and really scary and really overwhelming and really awesome. If I can pull it off, not just myself, but the whole team, I think it'll be a really awesome job. However, I will be a consultant for this company, so I have to basically get hired at two different places. One is the consulting firm, and then I have to be onboarded by them, and then I have to be onboarded by the actual company that I'll be working for. So it's a long, long process, and my tentative start date is like June 4th. So I have got some time to, I don't want to say kill, but to art and to play. So I'll keep you posted as that changes, but I'm hoping that all goes through and nothing happens that messes that up. But back to my art journal. Did you see that? I took a baby wipe and I just wiped it all off. Now what I was drawing with was a brown charcoal pencil, and I was trying not to draw terribly hard. And so that's what made that possible. It did wash a lot of the blue. I think I used Tombow, the circles I had created, and then I sprayed them with water and let them run down. It had washed a lot of that off because Tombow marker are water reactive, and they will always wipe off if you get them wet. So I just kind of put my own blue back on again and kind of scribble. That's what I was doing with the scribbles. And at this point, I'm now just using this. I'm treating this like a normal, regular chrissieb type art canvas, you know, just an abstract that I would normally do in my art journal. And I think that's probably because that's my go-to. It's my safety. It makes me feel happy. It's easy. I can shut my brain off and stop overthinking. And then I can ultimately hear whatever message it is that comes to my head. Because this is how I end up getting like messages from the universe, is by going to my happy place and be getting quiet and just erasing all worry and thought and overanalyzing in my head by art journaling. And especially when I'm doodling, which is what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of like adding dots with the back end of a paintbrush with some lime green paint. I know that's not easy to see on all of that, but that's what I'm doing. And then I get a message really, really, really loud and clear, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a really loud, that's a long sentiment. I don't know how I'm going to fit it onto an art journal page. That seems like a lot. I'm not sure. And I just kind of got the nudge, the push to just do it. So I ended up going to another art journal because I didn't want to dry those dots that I had created. Half of them had already air dried and half of them were still really wet. And I didn't want to heat tool the ones that were not dry yet because they dry funny with a heat tool. They kind of get like a little pucker in the middle of the paint. So I didn't want to do that. So I set it aside and decided to pull out another art journal. This is my Dina Wakely journal. It's got like the 3 or 4 different kinds of papers in it. And I was really struggling with the burlap page that was in there. So I just cut the darn thing out. And I'll figure out what to do with that later. And I decided to take these 2 pages that I had on either side of that burlap. They were very similar, but they were different. And they were enough different to kind of bug me, but they were similar enough that I didn't feel like I could really contrast them. So I decided to tie them both in together. But first I cut that middle burlap page out, and now I'm treating them both as one art journal spread. And I'm not going to finish it now, but I'm just going to basically add another layer. This was all in the idea of I just want my other art journal page to dry, and I just need to do something so I don't go crazy waiting for it. At this point, I'm just adding different colors and different mediums. Here I'm adding some ink, some drops of green ink to that, to just kind of like basically treat it like it's a brand new art journal spread, just to tie the 2 pages together. So then I pulled one of my magazine journals out, and again, I'm really antsy. I want to get back to the art journal page I'm working on. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to do that page, but I have to be patient, which is really, really hard for me. So I found this blue page in here, and I decided that I would just put some of my goldens. I don't remember what this one's called, but it's like a fluorescent magenta or something. It's gorgeous. I love this color so much. So put that on with I almost said scalpel, not scalpel, palette knife, and just kind of scrub that around. Loved it, loved it. Then I pulled out my other magazine journal, and I haven't really been playing with these a lot. I don't know why. I think I just kind of got over them pretty quickly. But I decided that I was going to, these 2 images in the background, behind my background, I was going to draw them and kind of trace them, which is what I'm doing right now, with the idea that someday when I get motivated to, when I get inspired to, I want to come back to these and actually paint them as kind of like practice paintings for painting women. I don't paint women very well. I don't paint women a lot. I do draw my own version of, like, I call them long neck girls, and they're just kind of cutesy, whimsical long neck girls, and they're kind of like art doll kind of things. But it would be kind of cool to know how to draw for reals, you know, like really know how to draw. So I thought this would be a good way to practice. At least it takes some of the fear away because the line's already there for you. That's all I had the cojones for. I really want to get back to this art journal spread. And the dots are not quite dry yet, so I decided to pull my white Stabilo pen. No, my white Signo pen. I've been calling this Stabilo pen, and it's not. It's a Signo pen. And I just did some dashes, some little dashes. And I'm really just patiently trying to wait for the stupid dots to dry. Because I'm like, come on, I just want to play with you. So here's my sentiment. It came out so loud and so clear, it felt like the universe was screaming it. Like, there was no way I was going to be able to ignore it, but it was really, really long. So I pulled out a piece of paper, which is what you see me doing here, and I decided I needed to write down the sentiment so that I wouldn't forget to create any words for it. So, meaning, I'm going to stamp the words out using stamps and a Stays-On ink pad. And then I'm going to cut all the images, cut all the words out and then glue them down. But there are so many words in the sentiment that I want to make sure that I got the whole shebang and I didn't miss any. So the sentiment was, you may not get to change your story up to this point, but you do get to choose how your story ends. I'm not sure why the sentiment was so loud today or why it felt like it was going off in my head like with alarm bells. Apparently I need to pay attention to this, or maybe there's someone out there that needs to be paying attention to this sentiment, that even though your story may have been unfolded in one manner and which has led you to the point that you're at right now, you do have the ability to change how the story moves from here on out. You choose. And that's something that I have been dealing with for a long time, that it is a reminder that I constantly need to be consciously choosing how I want my story to end. And the way I want my story to end is the actions I need to be taking now to make that story, that ending, a reality. So I don't know. I really ended up loving this page, even though at one point it was a horrible, horrible, horrible mess in my mind. Yeah, I love it. And I am really optimistic about the future. I think that I'm in good hands. I feel like I'm going the right direction. And you know, my whole sentiment, my whole career has been, I'm just here to serve. That's my whole thought about this YouTube channel, is I'm just here to serve. And if me, you know, showing how I art journal serves you in any way, then I feel like I'm being successful in that. And sometimes that's enough. So Yeah, I really appreciate it. I hope that you like this video. I know that they are a little ADD, but I am a little ADD, so it's kind of fitting. My dogs are playing in the background. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, bye for now.